Hi, it's Paul Camillos. Welcome to Series 6 of Shooting the Breeze. Join me and my co-host Jacinta Govind alongside the STB crew as we cover women's hoops and women in hoops. We'll share conversations and get a little deeper with inspiring players, amazing coaches, and the legends from behind the scenes. Especially in this series, we'll be talking to dream chasers that give it their all and lead with their heart.
I'm theoretically not even meant to be here. I'm just gonna throw everything I have at it and see what happens. No matter what happens from here on out, I'm not gonna be disappointed because I've kind of already exceeded in that moment what I expected. And I think that mindset really helped me kind of just play as loose and freely as I could and perform throughout training camp and those preseason games, because I was just like, well, I got nothing to lose here kind of thing.
We're kicking off our Series 6 playbacks as we run it back with STB Young Guns. Get some short takes on our episodes with Amy Atwell, Jazz Shelley, and Shaneice Swain. Aussie Young Guns Amy, Jazz and Shaneice will match up in the upcoming WNBL season. Also, congrats to Amy Atwell for her recent contract sign-up with the Phoenix Mercury for the WNBA playoffs. There's a whole lot of talent in this group, and it was great to learn more about them in their respective pods. Make sure to download their episode details and the Young Guns playlist compilation, which will be detailed in this episode's show notes. Enjoy.
My mum went down with me to Wesley College every Saturday morning and rebounded for me. And then it was actually all my knee injuries that kind of almost forced me to become a great shooter. So when I first got to college, all I could do for a while was, I wasn't even cleared to run when I first got there, so all I could do for a while was literally stationary shoot. So I became best friends with the shooting gun machine and was on that most days. And then even when I came back from my ACL, I had another few knee meniscus surgeries in my second year. So my first 2 years at college were super flow, didn't play a whole bunch, but literally was just shooting and shooting and shooting and shooting. And then after that it was, okay, well, this is who I am now. This is my strength, this is my go-to. And then ever since then I've just been a 3-point shooter.
When you were drafted by the LA Sparks, right, and let me say, I think they made a big mistake waiving you after 4 games.
Thank you.
I'm curious, once you're sort of really into the WNBA and not camp, how did you find that? And what's it like the first time you stepped out for the game one? What was it like?
Yeah, it was unreal. Game one was in Chicago. They had just won it the year before, so against defending champs in Chicago, and I actually started. So I walked down to the court and shook hands with Candace Parker and was like, oh, wow, I'm here. And yeah, it was definitely a pinch me moment, something I will kind of never forget. And it was just crazy because even after that first game, we started that season with a 4-game road trip, 4 cities in 10 days. So it was we went to Chicago, and then it was Atlanta, Connecticut, and somewhere else. And I was like, oh, wow, it was play, fly, play, fly, play, fly, every second day. And it was just insane, just that in itself, how it all works over there, stepping on court with Candace Parker, Diana Taurasi. I was just like, wow, did not expect to be here. This is definitely a pinch me moment and something I won't ever forget or take for granted.
Did you have to repress a little bit of fangirl and remember that you're there to do a job?
Yeah, a little bit. I just remember thinking what? I am not supposed to be here kind of thing, not in a didn't believe in myself way, just in a I would never have guessed this. And yeah, it was definitely I'm still here to do a job. I got a spot to keep still, but yeah.
It's weird when you watch people growing up and you see them from afar and on TV and you idolize them, and then you stand next to them and it's kind of you just have to kind of make sure that they're real, or there's something weird about seeing them in person for the first time that doesn't match the image you've created in your mind.
Yeah, definitely. It's a very weird feeling.
Yeah. And just as you mentioned, you did 4 cities in 10 days at the WNBA. Maybe someone just needs to kindly remind DJ Vasiljevic that his road trip, his schedule with the 36ers really isn't that bad, considering you went across America to 4 cities in 10 days and playing. So it wasn't just like a cakewalk.
No, yeah, that's funny. No comment.
But I just thought, just to take the opportunity to poke a stab at DJ having a whinge. Yeah.
No, I don't think I read the article, so I don't know all the details. But yeah, I think he copped a lot of hate for what he said.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one thing that I was really curious about. When you step out on a WNBA game, what's it like, the crowd reaction? Because they got big crowds. I'm really curious, what's it feel like when you kind of walk out there and you look around and there's this ocean of people?
Well, I'll tell you what, the lights are really bright, and it's just, especially that Chicago stadium, I remember looking up and like, big stadium packed out, and like all I could see was bright lights shining down the court. And obviously you hear them and you see big patches of people, but I think it's more so intimidating because like the court is so lit and like the stands obviously are darkened and there's not a whole bunch of lighting over there, so you can't really see a whole bunch in the crowd at some of those stadiums. So it's more just like, I don't know, it's hard to explain. It's like, yeah, all eyes are on you and you just feel very, I don't know. Yeah, all eyes are on you. But at the same time, it does create an awesome and unreal atmosphere. And I think once you get used to it, it's probably something really special.
And what's game day like in WNBA? Is it much different from a WNBL game day? I know that we're starting to adopt the game fit, pictures down the corridor, which we all like. But in terms of like atmosphere or banter in the locker room at a WNBA game, I imagine it can be a little bit more serious and tense, but I could be completely wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I would say in terms of like logistics wise, it's pretty similar. Like I had a pretty similar routine over there too, but definitely once you get in that locker room before the game, it's serious time. It's especially here. I mean, I've been at Perth the last 2 years. Obviously, I haven't played for any other club, but it's pretty like lighthearted and fun in the locker room, and everyone's kind of joking around, playing music. But over there, it's very much like headphones in, like you're doing your own thing, you're prepping for the game and stuff like that.
And if that's not someone's like way to get ready, like if someone needs to be social and upbeat and have music and whatever else to manage some nerves, that would be pretty hard to deal with. That would almost make you more stressful.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously I was only with the Sparks in the first chunk of the season and don't know much about what any of the other teams are doing, but yeah, I kind of felt that way a little bit too. I just felt very like, this is very serious, and I just, no laughing, no smiling, I'm here to get a job done. But yeah, I mean, I loved every second of it.
I'm curious, did you feel like there's an expectation that goes with the team that you're playing for? Like, there's fan expectation on the Sparks because they come from a big market team, Los Angeles. You and other members of the team, did you guys feel that sort of pressure, or it wasn't a big thing?
I can't really speak for a lot of the other girls, but I feel like especially with the LA Sparks, there was naturally that pressure on just such a big organisation. As a WNBA club, obviously the WNBA doesn't have a huge history, but it had been one of the more successful clubs in the league, and obviously playing out of Crypto.com arena now it is, and like associated with the Lakers to a certain extent. It is just kind of, fans do expect that, yeah, I guess just winning and that culture and a great franchise. And I think, especially the year I was there, we had a really rough start to the season. And I think both coaching staff and players felt that a lot just because of that expectation from the fans and the community, yeah.
It was a very tumultuous time for the Sparks when you entered. And naturally, with people being drafted, even if you're in the top 5 draft picks, your contract isn't guaranteed. Like we've seen, unfortunately, in the last couple of years, how many top draft picks end up being cut within the first 2 weeks. So what was running through your head when you went from training camp and not having any legs by day 3 and then making the starting 5 and then having all that turbulence around you at the club level and ultimately having to end your time there? Like, how do you even manage that mentally?
Yeah, I mean, as you said, especially in the WNBA, like no contract is guaranteed. And I think it was during the first week of training camp, the 6th or 7th overall pick in my draft was cut. And we were all like, oh my God, like what? And I'm sitting here like, I'm the 27th pick. There's no way I'm making it through. No, but I think what helped me, my mindset, especially going into training camp, was nobody even expected me to get drafted kind of thing. So it was like, I'm theoretically not even meant to be here. Like, I'm just going to throw everything I have at it and see what happens. Like, no matter what happens from here on out, like, I'm not going to be disappointed because I've kind of already exceeded in that moment what I expected. And I think that mindset really helped me kind of just play as loose and freely as I could and perform throughout training camp and those preseason games because I was just like, well, I got nothing to lose here kind of thing. I was the last draft pick for the Sparks at the camp too. So it was like there was 3 other girls that were picked ahead of me. So yeah, I just kind of really used that mindset, which really helped me in the end. And then obviously got through the training camp, made the final roster for opening night, and then it's a cutthroat business. So yeah, obviously Christy Tolliver was coming back from coaching with the Mavs, so someone unfortunately had to get cut, and I wasn't playing or performing at the time, so it was me. But I was just super grateful to have had that experience in the first place.
Yeah, I just wasn't really sure if I wanted to play or not. And with the WNBA being up in the air, it was kind of a weird contract. So it was kind of like, if I didn't make the WNBA, can we sign you? And if I did make the WNBA, they weren't getting me. So it was really hard for a team to go on a limb to say, she doesn't make the team, then we get her. So it was a weird system, but I kind of just having a relationship with Kennedy, who obviously said, I hope I don't see you, but just in case, we'd love to have you. So yes and no. It's hard to sign a player like me when the predicaments are looking like that.
I'm also really curious how you're finding the level of play between college and NBL 1 at the moment. I mean, there's no question it's different, but how are you finding that?
Yeah, I would say the biggest difference is probably the pace of play, just because of the 24-second shot clock. The game is a lot quicker, and we're also used to media timeouts, bunch more timeouts. So the game is a lot quicker, and you don't really get much of a rest. So I think just getting back to the fitness level of Australian basketball has been a little bit of an adjustment. And then I would say it's definitely more physical. I think that in college, as soon as you put 2 hands on, it's a foul. So being able to play through more physicality here, that's why it's perfect, I think, to play NBL 1 before I go and play WNBL, just because I think I need to get those reps underneath me before we start the WNBL season.
It was interesting that you mentioned the change of pace between playing women's college basketball and NBL 1. Is that attributed to just the different styles of play between America and Australia? Or, yeah, I guess especially because college basketball has a longer shot clock, so maybe there's more of a focus on executing in the half court on offense.
Yeah, so I've kind of noticed since being back that defensive transition is a lot different. I feel like in college we kind of have set rules and responsibilities, not necessarily guarding a certain player. That was just our team. It might be different for others, but we had honed in on not letting anyone get transition offense in college. And because teams like Iowa, teams like Ohio State runs like a super quick in transition and score majority of their points there, we kind of have set defense to avoid transition buckets. And I felt like the same thing when I was playing for Nebraska. That was a really strong suit for us. So people tried to slow that down, which made us play in the half court more.
And defensive assignments, you were tasked with guarding Caitlin Clark for a couple of games.
It's definitely the hardest assignment I've had playing basketball, but tried to make do.
Well, it's pretty exciting when in your roster of 12, you're assigned to guard arguably one of the most recognisable, if not the most recognisable college athlete of the last couple of years. What was your mindset going into that?
Yeah, I think my defense, I might not be like the quickest or most agile, whatever. But I think that I'm really good at scout and like understanding, pretty good feel for the game, where I kind of watched enough film and stuff and watched her game enough to know her tendencies a little bit. She still had, I don't know, probably 40. I don't know exact numbers on us, but just trying to limit certain things, you know, like it's to win a game, you can let her have 40, but then you have to shut down, not let anyone else have over 10, you know, like there was just certain things that our team was really good at because we've played Iowa since forever, to try to slow them down because they are so successful. And one of those was in transition. So I think that it was a team effort. One person can't guard her. It's all 5 players have to be honed in on her. So it's still so impressive what she's able to do with having that much attention on her every night.
So you talked about college, and I want to talk a little bit about college because you were at Oregon and then you went to Nebraska. First of all, how was that change? I mean, because they're different places and they're like really different. How did you find that?
Super different, yeah. I enjoyed both experiences. They were both very, very different, but I felt my fit was more at Nebraska. I really liked the Midwestern culture. I really liked the people. Everyone's just so lovely there. I would say Oregon is more, it's like a powerhouse. It's more of like a business, and it's kind of more of just basketball. And I kind of found myself wanting to be more of just a basketball player, and I felt like there was more opportunities at Nebraska for me to be able to learn who I was outside of the game and enjoy the game while still having really good connections with teammates, people outside of basketball.
And was that transfer process complicated? Because, you know, I'm quite sure that there are people who are going to tune in and listen and don't understand it. It's not just as simple as, yeah, listen, I just want to go over there.
Yeah. I was very fortunate that mine was a little more simple, just because when I was in high school, I was deciding between going to Oregon, Oregon State, Nebraska. And once I told Nebraska I wasn't going there, we still had a pretty strong relationship just because Izzy Bourne was there and she's my best friend. And So that was knowing that Izzy Bourne loved Nebraska and was enjoying it. And I was like, well, I already know I will too. So it was kind of easy to, once I said that I wanted to leave Oregon, having the coaches reach out to me straight away as soon as I hit the portal, which I already had in mind that was somewhere that I really wanted to go. But it's kind of just a process of, if you feel like it's not the right fit for you, just going to speak to your coach. They'll help you with the transition to get your name into the transfer portal, and then you can talk to whoever after that and make the decision from there.
In your case, it sounded like it was pretty straightforward. How did your coach at Oregon react when you first said, yeah, listen, I don't think this is a great fit for me?
It was also a unique situation where we had probably, I think, 4 or 5 other girls transfer and the whole coaching staff leave. So it was a little bit expected, I think. Yeah. So the head coach and one of the assistants stayed and the rest moved on to a new club. So I think that it was expected that was going to be a bunch of people come in and say that they wanted to be put in the transfer portal. He was very understanding. We had a relatively good relationship where he wanted the best for me, and if I needed assistance talking to other teams or getting somewhere else, he would help with that. So it was an easy process.
I'm really surprised that there was such a huge change at one time. I mean, I don't think that that's something that happens. I've never heard of it happening at kind of like that much at one time from a college before. What was it like being in a team where you there was so much upheaval happening?
It was difficult just because I loved the game of basketball and I felt myself not loving it as much. And then obviously getting down on confidence when you weren't playing, and being a part of a team where there was much chemistry as well. So it was very difficult to play through environments like that, but it's also you learn a lot from it. And I think that a lot of people come over to the US and don't enjoy their experiences. And that's why I'll never crap on the transfer portal, because I've had the best 3 years of my life at Nebraska because of that situation and being able to transfer and play straight away and be on a team where I felt like it fit me more. And like Oregon does suit some people. It's just it wasn't for me. And I think that that's the whole thing about Australians coming over to the US is not every situation suits you, and you just got to find the one that fits you the best.
And one other thing I want to ask about at Oregon, you played with Sabrina Ionescu. When you were there, I mean, obviously she was a great player, but did you think that she sort of hit the heights that she's managed to hit?
My first year at Oregon was unmatched. Like, I played with some of the best players in the world, like Sabrina, Ruthie, Satu, Erin Boley. We had an incredible lineup of people, and that was an unreal experience for me just to learn from those sorts of people. But I always knew Sabrina would be special. She was someone that worked harder than anyone else. She was an incredible team captain. She was an incredible leader, and the way she played the game, I was just in love with. Like, she just made everyone around her better. I think once you get to the WNBA, obviously it's an adjustment period for everybody, but it only took her a couple of seasons, and now you see how incredible she is. She's absolutely smashing again, making another Olympics. But yeah, I'm not surprised at all. Just being able to practice with and against her, she's definitely special.
Must be kind of weird to be like, hey, one of my previous college teammates now has their own shoe with Nike. Like,
and I wear them too. Yeah, no, it's pretty
wild.
cool. Yeah. And that's the cool part about coming over to college. I got to meet and be around some of the best players in the world and learn so much and take that knowledge with me. So I think it's pretty cool I got those experiences.
And just a side note with Nebraska, you're the Nebraska Huskers.
Corn Huskers, yeah.
Corn Huskers. What's a corn husker?
It's a great question. So Nebraska is very flat, very known for cornfields, sell a lot of corn, grain, whatever. And so a corn husker is literally someone that husks corn. Yeah. So, that's where that name came from.
And I feel like us as a team, we've also been a little bit up and down. But I mean, and you can tell on the floor, like once we have that, got it all together and have it sorted, like we're a really good team, and we're like almost like pretty much unstoppable.
So we were talking to Ness earlier in the week in preparation for this pink round, and she mentioned offline actually that one of your assistant coaches, Renee Garlop, said that the teams in the WNBL season this year, like they have no fear.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, is great for us as spectators because it's unpredictable. We never know what we're going to get, and it's always going to be entertaining. But as a player, does that make it a little bit harder to prepare that because of that unpredictability and because no one is really backing down?
I'm not sure because I haven't really like been in the positions where I could play and go up against that. But I mean, yeah, like I feel like no one in the league like is really feared. So I think us as a team, we need to step forward and take that position and be the team to be feared of playing. So yeah.
Are you someone who, when you are back playing, are you more someone who kind of gets a bit anxious ahead of a game of like, oh, this is my role today, or are you someone who is more to be feared rather than has the fear?
I do get a little bit nervous before games. I can say that, but I have gotten better. Like last season, I was getting really nervous, but Coach Kristen Veal helped me a lot with that. But yeah, I feel like I'm a lot better now. And yeah, and then, I mean, once I'm on the floor, everything just goes out of my head. And I just like, once I get my first bucket or like steal, whatever it is, like, then I'm good to go.
Just need that point of activation, like something positive to activate you, and then you feel settled.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool.
So how did you find the shift from the Canberra Caps to the Flames and the whole Hoops Capital organisation?
I mean, Hoops Capital made it pretty easy for me, like with the decision to come here. But I mean, yeah, I loved being at Caps. But I think here I just needed to try something different, be somewhere else. I've been in Canberra for a couple of years, also the AIS. So I think here, coming to play for Guy as well, develop my game more. I heard he was a good development coach, so I wanted to come and like be a part of that, and then even be a part of like the big names like Kayla, Loz, Tess, like play under them also to just learn from them and their experience in the game. So yeah.
Yeah, because last year when you played for the Caps, you were certainly one of the, still a very young emerging talent, but you were still having to take a leadership role in that team quite early.
Yeah.
So now coming into a team like the Flames with the people you just mentioned, like your Tess Madgens and your Kayla Georges, what are some of the biggest lessons that you've learned under them so far?
I think I don't really know. I think it's just it hasn't really been anything in particular. It's just been stuff with the team, and sometimes I'd hear them say some things and I'm just taking that all on board. And then say I went to a different team and I had to be a leader at that different team. I'd know what to say and what to do from them. And then even from a recovery point of view, Tess being injured, I've seen her do her recovery and on it every day, icing, sauna, whatever it is she can do to get herself back on the court. I've seen a lot of that. So I think that's one thing that I needed to add to myself and to be better as a player. So yeah, that stuff.
Yeah, that's massive. Yeah. I mean, leadership skills and the importance of your recovery and looking after yourself holistically, because let me tell you, when you get older, lower back pain is real. So please do what you can now while you're still young and sprightly to help prevent that.
Yeah, sure.
So I wanted to ask you a question about when Kayla finally got into Australia and got to the team. Was it when it's wow, here's a WNBA champ and I'm going to be on the same team with her, and, given, the storied career that she's had, what's it like?
I mean, it's pretty unbelievable, to be even just being on the same team as her, even before she won the WNBA championship, she's just been an incredible role model, even for everyone. She's just an amazing person. And then her with Pearl as well, just seeing her as a mother and an athlete is just amazing. But yeah, playing with her is definitely exciting. Playing with her is exciting, and I'm really excited to get out on court with her because she's played in Cairns. I've played in Cairns. She's been living in Cairns, so I'm just really excited for us to just get on court together. I feel like we'll read each other really well, and just gel really quickly on the court.
And the broadcast numbers in Cairns and all the Cairns, it's Cairns Marlins, right?
Cairns Dolphins.
Dolphins.
Yeah.
Why did I say Marlins?
That's the men's team.
Yeah. Blasphemous. Cairns Dolphins.
Yeah.
But, broadcast numbers and attendance numbers will go up when you, in Cairns, when you guys are both on the court. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously one of the great things about the regional centres is you get everybody coming out to watch you play.
Yeah. Yeah, it was definitely really good when I played back home because I haven't, like I was saying before, I haven't played there since my juniors.
Yeah.
So it was really good to have the family there, just everyone there, and then just seeing all the younger kids, from me being away and seeing all the younger kids, some kids that I don't even know, coming up to me or just knowing me. I'm just oh wow, this is, everything's so much bigger here. But yeah.
We'll keep going. And yeah, so
sorry about that, folks. We just had to sort out some stuff with the staff. That's all.
But yeah, so that's a big impact when you realise your achievements and your representation in a place like Cairns is making such an impact on people. I imagine you probably didn't expect that.
Yeah, no, I think it's just even when I got drafted and I came back home, so I was on the plane when I got drafted and I had I had no idea what pickup. Well, I had a bit of an idea what pick I was gonna go, but I didn't even get to watch the draft. I was on the plane and then I came back home and I had all my family at the airport, news reporters, and I was oh my gosh. And then when I came back to basketball, my team we played the draft on the projector. So yeah, it was, I mean, just to see everyone get around me and be at home to have that experience was pretty special.
Yeah, the best place to be.
Yeah.
To be able to celebrate something
for
such
sure.
a huge milestone
Because
like
if I was
that.
playing anywhere else, I'd have to go straight back to like where I was playing. I wouldn't be able to experience that and celebrate that. So that was really good.
Yeah, that's amazing. What a great experience.
Yeah.
Similar to when Jade got drafted and she was able to go to, I think, her dad's pub and watch it live.
Yeah.
So good that your family was waiting. I imagine that your phone would have just blown up as soon as you got off the plane.
Like I connected to the Wi-Fi and it was just like messages. I was like, oh my God. I even texted Jade. I was like, I'm so overwhelmed. Like, this is so much. I just need to put my phone aside. Like, but yeah.
It took you a whole week to get back to everyone.
Yeah, seriously. Like so much. Yeah.
So, I just want to take one step back for a second.
Mm-hmm.
When you go back home,
Yeah.
and you got young girls looking up to you,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm guessing it wasn't that long ago when you were in the same situation.
Mm-hmm.
How does that feel to you when you're kind of like going, "Wow, these kids are looking up to me, and I'm a role model for them."
Yeah. It feels very special. It feels very good to have like little kids looking up to me. And then me being their role model. And I think I didn't really have someone that I like, someone in my position, like that I looked up to in Cairns. So I kind of like, when I was starting to like, when I went to the COE, making Australian teams, going to the WNBL, I would kind of always had that thought at the back of my mind, like I want to have little kids like look up to me and like little kids in my position where like I didn't really have someone to really look up to then. Like I want them to have that. And as me as being like such a young player, I want them to like know that they can do whatever because I've done everything. I feel like I've done everything at like such a young age and I'm like just still going up. So I just want them to like know that they can do that and just keep believing in themselves.
Make sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts so you get our latest pod. And we really appreciate if we could get a like and a review so we can extend the reach to more listeners. And don't forget, follow us on Instagram, Twitter and LinkedIn.